Hello and welcome to On the Cube Leadership Podcast, Episode 1. This is our first episode and you are here with Craig O'Sullivan and Dr. Rod St. Hill, where we're going to be looking at current events in pop culture, in politics, in business, in ministry, and also looking at things in the Bible and interpreting what they mean for us as leaders. Now, we are not social or political commentators. We don't know in-depth information about these topics that we're covering. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at these events and draw from them what we know and what we can learn to become better leaders so that we all can learn, live, and lead on purpose. Now, Dr. Rod and I speak every week, even though we're on opposite sides of the planet. We made sure that we stayed connected every week, and our conversations are full of, chatting about everyday events and what that means for our business and our life, and especially interpreting into leadership. And so we thought, well, you know what? This conversation is so rich and so helpful that I just want to record these conversations and share it out so that you can hopefully learn from this as well. A little bit of background about myself. I am the founder of On Purpose Cubed, a leadership development program, and you'll be able to see lots about that on the way, where we are actually on a mission to eradicate poor leadership by raising up the next generation of influential leaders. And Dr. Rod St. Hill is actually one of our board members. He's a director of our company, as well as he's a coach in our organization. But most importantly, he is the businessman's pastor. Yes, he's a pastor of a local church. He is a doctor of economics, spent a lot of time in higher education institutions as a leader, as a lecturer, running departments, running institutions. And it's incredible to have his knowledge and experience. Dr. Rod and I have been friends for many, 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 many years, probably going on almost 10 years now. And it is honestly such an honor to be able to share this moment or these moments that Dr. Rod and I have and share them out with you, because he is honestly one of the wisest men I know. And so let's get into this. Before we get into this, let me hand it over to Dr. Rod to introduce himself from his point of view.
Well, I don't know that I can add much more than that, Craig. I think you set me a bit of a standard to reach for. But yes, I've had over 40 years experience in higher education, in universities and in private higher education organisations. My background is in economics. That's where my undergraduate degree and PhD were. It's a long time since I did my PhD, so I don't know how much of that is relevant now. For the last 20, 25 years, I've been involved in academic management at one level or another, including being a professor and pro-vice-chancellor at a public university. I've been CEO at a private higher education institution in its startup phase, which was really quite interesting and exciting. I'm now a pastor, more or less full-time. I still dabble in higher education, but I've just got a real passion for showing people how the Bible really provides for us a pattern for the way in which we make decisions, the way in which we behave, particularly in the context of business. And I love chatting with Craig. As he's mentioned, we catch up on a weekly basis. We're scheduled for an hour, but often we go well over time because we have much to talk about in the context of business, in the context of leadership. And, our hope is that as we share some of these conversations with you, you will be challenged and you will be encouraged to grow in your own leadership. And also, I hope you'll become a more confident leader because you better understand the biblical basis for your leadership.
That's great. That's great. Well, I think that, look, obviously, Jesus, the greatest leader that's ever lived, he taught through parables and through stories, and for us to be able to learn metaphors from those stories, so that we can live better and lead better. And so, I think that's kind of the basis of our podcast, is just looking at everyday events as a metaphor. Like I said, we're not experts on these topics. There's obviously a lot more that goes into the back end of these things, and there are amazing political commentators that do amazing, incredible research and talk about the actual event. What we want to do is just look at the event from a surface level and kind of interpret and see what we see as leadership failures, leadership successes, and things, maybe how we would do things differently if we were in that position. Once again, not knowing all of the information that is available. Hey, you just watched an excerpt from our On the Cube Leadership podcast. If you'd like to see the full episodes, check out our YouTube channel and consider subscribing.